Today we're making one of the first fine dining looking dishes I ever attempted to cook. Pan-seared scallop with pea puree. Extremely beautiful and deceptively simple. Let's do it. First up, we have some beautiful hand-dyed scallops. To remove them from their shells, the best way to do it is you locate this muscle here and you use the back of your spoon to just very gently push it. Push is a strong word, to nudge it away from the shell. And with the muscle, so goes the scallop. Perfect. Now we remove the muscle and the coral. And all you have to do is using your thumb, you start to separate the coral all the way around and you take the muscle with you. And this will form the base of our pea puree, which we'll make now. Medium-high heat, bit of extra virgin olive oil. Corals and mussels, they go in. Just to get a bit of color, a bit more flavor. Now the mussel, of course, it's just a more intense version of the flesh. Extremely sweet, but could be on the chewy side with fast cooking. The coral, on the other hand, has this subtle sweetness along with a bit of earthiness. And this will work extremely well with the sweetness of the peas. Once we have a bit of color, we have a bit of Maillard reaction to enhance the meaty taste, a bit of caramelization to reinforce the sweetness, we add our frozen green peas. Now it's counterintuitive, but unless you live near a farm during pea season, frozen peas are almost always tastier than fresh peas because the moment they're picked, the sweetness starts to take a nosedive. If you don't believe me, do a side-by-side tasting. And we just want everything to be coated with the flavoursome oil. And for the peas, have a bit of time to heat up. Season with a bit of salt, bit of black pepper to reinforce the earthiness of the coral, and optional, just to balance the sweetness, we add some chili flakes. Brilliant. Now, we add just enough cooking liquid to cover everything. You can use chicken stock, fish stock, crustacean stock, dashi. Today we keep it simple with water to really let the scallop shine. Now, once this is boiling, stove off, and we make the puree. Carefully add everything, coral and mussel included, to a blender of your choosing. And you want to cover this by about 2/3 for a more puree-like texture. If you want it more soupy, cover the whole thing. Now, I know it's counterintuitive, but the green in green pea puree actually does not come from the peas themselves, because besides the skin, it's more of a greyish color. So to make it green, you need to add something green. Now, you can either add something very neutral, like chives, which will purely add color and a hint of earthiness. Or you can add something you want to taste in the final product that would go well with the chili flakes, with the nutty scallops. We have some mint. With mint, it's very important to add it very last minute to not allow them the chance to turn dark before you blitz them. Of course, once you've done this once, you can play with the herbs. I like coriander, for example. That's our green and pea puree. Set this aside to keep warm. Now, the easy part, to sear our scallops. Hot pan. How do you know if the pan is hot enough? By adding a few droplets of water and see how they behave. At this point, they're still evaporating, so that's not good enough for me. I want the water droplets to be dancing, ice skating on the pan, like that. High smoke point neutral oil, in this case, vegetable oil, just a tiny bit. Once the oil is shimmering, scallop goes in flat side down, the side not facing the shell. And for scallop, it is extremely important to not use a non-stick skillet. You want the scallop to initially stick to the bottom of the pan to maximize the Maillard reaction, the caramelization, what's going to give you that signature nuttiness of a pan-seared scallop. And we are going to do what is called the single-sided searing. Because of the short cooking time the scallop requires, it's almost impossible to have perfect sear on both sides. And for that reason, I would much rather have one perfect golden crust on one side than mediocre crusts on both. Once 1/3 of the scallop is no longer translucent, we add a very generous knob of butter to reinforce the nutty goodness. Now we baste the other side with the burnt butter. And by this point, the scallop should have released themselves, and that's when you know the crust is perfect. You switch off the stove and you turn for the other side just to kiss the pan with the residual heat. Transfer this beauty to drain off the excess nutty goodness. And we can plate. Generous amount of this pea puree. Tap the bottom of the plate. This beauty sits on top. And we add a few drizzles of extra virgin olive oil to finish the dish. And that's it.